thing. All right. Hi, folks. It's 5:35. We're this going to start the September 12th meeting of the Green Community Committee. I'd like to welcome you all to the meeting. This meeting is being done on Zoom. If you have the link, you're on. If not, you can watch this. You can listen to this through the town YouTube channel 24 hours from now. Okay. So I'm going to just let's just jump. I'm going to skip the first review of minutes and public comment because I don't see public, and I guess we're all a thing. We're going to jump right into the fall grant process and jump right into things here. Just to get up to speed, I think we've had some great conversations with the schools. I appreciate, Doc, for that you're joining us, and I appreciate the support that you guys have been showing towards this. I think we've gotten some good news from Unitil. Recently, we've had some conversations with both the Massachusetts Green Community representative and the representative for Unitil on ways that we can possibly help offset the mini splits that have been installed, as well as the installation of new mini splits in the school. So I guess one of the questions we had, Doc, was, by the way, how would you like, Doc, Kate, Doc Burnham?
Either is fine by me.
All right,
Kate is fine.
We'll go with Doc. You worked hard for that, so we'll go with Doc. I got my master up top. Well, Kim is going for her master's there, so we'll work. Well, you worked hard for that doctor thing. You might also get to use it. You don't make the money of the surgeons, but that's okay. All right. So one of the things we found was that that we have worked with Unitil, and there could be a way of still recuperating some of the funds from the first phase of the mini splits that were done. The big thing for the mini splits is going to be A, utilizing their heat component as well as the cooling, and B, integrating them into the present business building management control system, BMC, building control management system. Actually, it's BCM, that's in the schools today. That's going to be required that in they call it the transition months. This would be the spring and the fall, where you might not need to heat everything, or you might just have a day that's a little bit cooler, that you can use the mini splits for those. And then once you really hit the months where it's going to be cold and we have the really cold evenings, that's when the heat system kicks in and we utilize the heat system. On the town side, we're very excited about this, especially with all of the solar projects that have gone on and the ability to offset, because this is now using electricity, being able to offset that with electrical, with some of the solar grants and the credits we get with some of the solar panels systems that we have in place. So the big component so I guess the big question was, when the first phase, do you know the number of rooms that were done?
We were able to do 12.
Okay, so we're going to look at phase one was 12 rooms. And if we look at each unit did 2 rooms, which probably makes sense. So we'll be looking at 6 head units. Okay.
Yep. 6 condensing units. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So if we look at that, there is a possibility, the rebate possibility, I'll let somebody else do the math. Well, actually, that's not that hard. Would be, we've been told by Unitil it's about $9,750 per head unit. Condensers on that, and we do the quick math. 6, that's a 0, 3, 3, 5, carry the 4. So it's about a little over $40,000, $40,500. That is possibility for that. The big thing's going to be is incorporating integrated controls. It sounds like that the people who installed it are actually the people who make the system. The systems were done by a company called Daikin. I got that right?
It's Daikin, and it was Daikin Applied is the vendor that they must have a portion of their company that does the installation.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Daikin Applied is the one that did the installation.
Okay, excellent. So that's exciting because they're going to be I would assume that they can have the technical expertise to really help us through the next phase on there. The key is going to be this integration, and the integration, it should not mean wiring, hardwiring everything. It could be as simple as a Wi-Fi or some kind of wireless integration of one system talking to the other. So I did a little research on my own about different things, and they have these things that they call pucks. And what these are is just a wireless communication that will talk to both the mini split system and then report to a main system that, that could control, that will alert the main system of what to do. What Unitil is asking is that we pick a temperature. So usually, the commercial buildings will pick, like, say, 45 degrees Fahrenheit outside, and at 45 degrees Fahrenheit, you move from the mini splits to moving to the fossil fuels, the older heat, the present heat system. That number could be adjusted, and it will be adjusted based on where the sweet point is for the mini splits, how they work, and when the system kicks in and makes sense for the system and things of that sort. So if I look at that, if I have 12 rooms, so that kind of makes it easy math. So we're like $1,200 for the pucks, and then it's a matter of understanding the install, whether that's something that we have to have a trained HVAC technician install, or if it's something where the Daikin system could talk to it or anything like that. The idea one is the other side of that is if the Daikin system has a Wi-Fi capability. I haven't looked. I know we got the information on the head. I got to look at the information on the in-room units to see if they have a Wi-Fi capability. That might solve everything with that and things like that. So then it becomes an IT issue for us. Okay. So the next milestone that we see is on the 20th of September. There is going to be a representative from Daikin, a representative from Unitil, and hopefully myself, who will do a kind of a walkthrough on the school and a look at the systems to see what it's going to take to do this integrated controls component on here.
And I think I can, I'll arrange to have our IT manager attend that meeting as well.
Okay.
So that they can figure out what may or may not need to be done by an outside vendor, is if we can't handle whatever needs to be done relative to the wireless.
Okay, excellent. So the second phase of the system that you want to do would be the rest of the classrooms. Is that correct?
Yes. So
I'm sorry, let me take a pause here. Kim, Dave, any questions, or have I done so far?
No, I was in on the meeting this morning, so I agree with your reiteration of what we covered this morning.
Okay, excellent. All right.
Yeah,
Kim, you're all set?
Yeah, I don't have any.
I did have one quick question.
Sure.
You mentioned $1,200. Is that per control unit, or is that for the 6 units?
That actually would be, so you have to look at it as individual room units. So each one of the heads controls will work with 2 rooms.
Right.
So it's each individual room that you would be doing it. So it's 12. Each unit is about $100.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I missed that.
No, that's okay. I probably.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Like I say, that I was surprised it was that. It's, in fact, there's 2 different units. One of them's even less expensive, but I'm going for the high. I'll look at the high end right now, type of thing.
Well, based on the technology that we have today with control thermostats, is basically what that is, with a little extra caveat to it. It kind of doesn't surprise me that we can get them for $100 a piece.
Hey, yeah.
It's
These
the
are
programming, as you said, that'll be the challenge.
right. In fact, if you look at it, it's kind of like a dumb Nest. Not a dumb, but a simplified Nest. It's not watching all your moves. It's not trying to monitor when you're in the room and when you're not. It's just more of reporting what it feels and sending information back.
Right.
Okay. All right. So I'm sorry. So phase 2 will be number of classrooms?
Yep. So for phase 2, we still have another 11 classrooms.
Okay.
And 5 other office area or workspace areas in the building.
Okay.
Then, the larger areas, there is currently a mini split unit in the upper area of the library, which is an open 2-story with a loft, really.
Right.
So the bigger areas, the library, the CAF, and the gym, we haven't really factored in because prior we really weren't thinking about this integrated use for heat, so on and so forth. So I don't know if that's something that we need to reevaluate in terms of getting all spaces that are part of the school onto some type of supplemental heat pump system. But that's something else that we can discuss as a phase further out.
Okay.
And then this morning we also talked about older units, and the units that we have are actually 20 years old at this point. So
okay,
they were probably installed when the building opened. And my assumption, and I don't know, maybe Mr. Passios might have some recollection around some of the decision making, when it was decided to forego the AC units on the roof, it's possible that they decided to put some of these mini split units into the office areas that maybe didn't have windows for ventilation, etc. So I'm not sure how that all came to be, but we have several 20-year-old units.
okay.
And that would include 12 offices or classrooms.
So right now the 11 classrooms and 5 workspaces have nothing?
Have nothing.
Okay. So those have nothing.
Yep.
And then
there are another 12 spaces that have something, but they're 20 years old.
No, that's fine. As well as I'm sure that, knowing us, they probably aren't even well, if they're equipped for heat, they've never been used for heat.
Probably not. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that the useful life of those units is, they're reaching the end of useful life. So it's one of those things that, maybe that's a phase 3 consideration.
Okay.
Replacement for something that's more energy efficient and can offer the supplemental heat.
Dr. Burnham, down the road, we talked about this a little bit this morning as a third phase, but it just popped into my head that you guys had mentioned a project at Turkey Hill also coming into online. We may find when we get past this grant round, when we look down the road to the next grant round, we might be able to incorporate Turkey Hill and phase 3.
That would be fantastic because obviously Turkey Hill's an older building. The window units there are just awning windows. So they just, sort of crack in. It's not like there's a full section of window allowing, breeze
Right.
to come through into the classroom. So it can get really warm, particularly on the second floor. And in recent years, my entire tenure here in the district, and I've completed 6 years here. This is my 7th year in the district. We have had times either in September, sometimes even in October, but in June as well, where the temperature in those rooms is upwards of 90-something degrees because it's as warm as it is outside. But you've also got the humidity into the classroom at that point because you've had bodies in the classroom in the warm weather. And what we've typically done when we reach that uncomfortable level is we relocate classes that are on the second floor to other locations in the building that are cooler, and more so walking the classrooms from the second floor up to the middle high school for the afternoon to sit in a cooler space that is either the auditorium, the cafeteria. So the cool is an issue. But we've also had challenges with the older heating system where it doesn't really maintain the heat through the duration of the run through the pipes.
Yeah.
So as you're getting to the tail end of the run, the temperatures are dropping down. And when we have a cold snap outside, and again, all of the windows are single pane, so there's not a lot of insulation factor there. So when it's really cold out, we have a challenge keeping the classrooms at a comfortable temperature. And we also have to move kids from really chilly classrooms into other spaces in the building that are a little bit warmer. So while it hasn't been like a real identified need to have some supplemental heat at the primary, although it would be great for the energy savings on the entire running the entire HVAC system in those, seasons that it's kind of spotty, that you need to really kind of warm up the building. We do have a challenge in the peak heating season at Turkey Hill. So those units in that building are really kind of reaching that kind of critical importance to help maintain comfortable conditions in the classroom.
So that on that, I would look at it as one of the keys that they would look at it for Turkey Hill is weatherization first.
Yep.
So any kind of projects that Eric could work up, Mr. Heavey can work with and figure out weatherization, that would be before we could even submit for mini splits. They would look at that kind of component first. I know with the last time it was probably done was when Mr. Londa was around, because we did the I know there was the hole that we helped get some offset for. I guess there was a separation between a wall and a roof or something like that. I kind of recall that a while back. That's probably, but that's definitely going to be key.
Yeah, Dave, I think the last section was upper windows. I don't know what you call that room. It used to be called the cafetorium, but the big room just as you walk into the right, all of those windows along the tops of the walls and stuff. That I believe was the last project.
I think you're right.
Fascia repair and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's something that the green community is very willing to pass. That's an easy ROI for us. Okay. And that would be the first component for, like, as we mentioned, if we were going to apply for that in a year from the end of this grant type of thing.
Dr. Burnham, what's nice about this too is if we do get this pushed through in this round, then you guys are going to want to get it done during the summer. So we're going to be able to close out the project well in advance of the next round. So that's
absolutely.
It's really nice about this scenario if we can stay to this schedule.
Yeah, it's actually ideal.
Yep.
The timing on it.
All right, so it's going to be on that Friday, the 20th. We're going to really have to push the gentleman from Dakin and just push this. Can't explain to him that things need to be done rather quickly, and it's going to be a matter of how much he can provide, and then we can work with Unitil on what they can provide and things of that sort. I believe there's legwork, but I believe that it's doable, and it's going to be tight for October, but we're going to push hard for it. Type of thing. Okay.
I think it's going to be important. I'm not going to be able to attend that walkthrough, but I think it's going to be important to keep to the needs for this grant round and try not to talk too much about the other spaces and stuff, so that they don't get confused as to what they're working on to calculate for savings and so on. Because the last thing we want is to have them come back with documentation a week or two before the application is due, and it includes more or less than what we intended to get the 11 classrooms completed.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So I'm looking at this, you know, the 6, well, it'd be 11 plus the 5. So I'd look at the nothing spaces, those 16. And that would be, you know, 8 head units. That would be, you know, well, we're talking about close to, you know, a little around $7,000. I mean, sorry, eight head units would be roughly like $78,000 from Unitil, and then whatever we can do from Green. So hopefully that offsets a lot for you and makes this project go through, because I think you mentioned last time there was like a $230,000 was what the allocation was.
For
232,000.
Okay, so if with everything we can get everything done for under that, I think life will be very joyous for all, right? Okay, excellent. Okay, so yeah, you know, we're still pushing heavily for the October date. You know, I know the spring date, I don't want to even I hesitate to mention, but the spring date is still possible for a summer install. It's just going to be a tighter window there.
Okay.
Because we would find out in like a June, July, you got the allocation, but it also would be at that point, you know, it would end up being the same as what happened to you on phase 1, where you might have to cut back if we ended up not getting it, type of thing. Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay. Any other questions, guys, on this right now?
I guess, have you got any feedback yet from the rooms that were done in phase 1? I'm assuming, because we've had some pretty hot weather. Is it at least done about what you need for the time being?
I think the teachers who are assigned to classrooms that have the mini split are happy campers.
Okay.
And I think, you know, if we do get the full integration accomplished in that building, I think it's going to make a huge difference. Because I remember one of the engineering reports when we were trying to work through all that other stuff years ago with the main system and the condensers on the roof and stuff. There were still concerns about imbalances in the system, room to room, and this, with some fine tuning after it's all installed and all integrated, you'll be able to balance those areas.
Yeah, it's really exciting actually to think about the building being in that good a shape in terms of being able to save energy costs. So
yeah. By the way, to give you guys an actually thing, I have a room with a huge amount of windows in it, and I basically shut the heat off. The heat was ridiculous. It wasn't able to heat enough. I use radiant in-floor heating. So it wasn't able to, but I actually ended up shutting it off and just using my mini split, and my bill was lower than it was for last winter. And I thought last winter was, I don't know if you're going to call it mild. I thought it was average, but the mini splits warmed the room enough with just the mini split. And this is like, let's say a 700 square foot room type of thing. I don't know if it's that big, but it's a wide open concept type of thing. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I think you'll find over time that you'll end up using the mini splits to a lower temperature because of you controlling an individual room, and you're less worried then about, you know, the system trying to feeding the wrong room, or, you know, and not feeding the right room type of thing. Yeah. I'd say very happy with my mini splits. The other thing I like is that you can turn it on, and within 10 minutes, the room is changed. You know, when you turn the heat system on, you wait like 12 hours before your house changes type of thing, you know, especially with those old radiators. Okay, excellent. All right. So I think we should be all set with that. You know, we did have, I'll put this up. Let me just do this real quick. Share screen, share screen one, share, make this bigger. All right, you guys, can you read this at all? Not really, but don't worry about it. So let me just do this. Shrink all that down. Shrink all that down. Make this bigger. Okay, so there's two key things here. There's three columns here. These, why can't, I can't do it because it's doing, oh, come on. It's not letting me do it. Anyway, there's three walk-in refrigeration controls that we had for the schools. It doesn't add up to a lot. You know, we added up to, it's not working. My thing, it's, you know, it's adding up to about a little, maybe 11K when it comes to the Green Community Grant funding and the utilities funding. The payback was at most this 2.27 years. So I think these are pretty good. I'm going to try to throw these in at the same time on the grant round. And I would leave that up to you guys as to, you know, which was more important, whether these incentives and doing this out of capital funds, or whether trying to get a couple of more, an extra mini split or two might make more sense. And we'll get to that point once we have the information from the rep.
Okay.
And the pricing. Okay. So, because like I said, this is only like 11K. I don't think that's bad with the capital. It's just more of, if 11K, if that's the difference between a couple of rooms, I'd rather do the rooms and let you guys do these, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I can stop that. You know, obviously, you know, the sewer guys they're in trouble here with the simple payback period of, 115 years. I don't think they're going to make it here. In column A, why does this not let me do anything here?
Maybe because you shrunk it down, Dave. I don't know.
Huh.
You know, I retract my comment about Dana, that pump station. I thought that was a closer number than that.
Yeah,
you're right. It doesn't make sense to put any of.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't make sense at all. So it's not even worth putting them in at this point. Right. Okay, I think we'd be laughed at 115 years. Let's just say I don't think any of us sitting here will see that payback period. Especially because there's like virtually, anyway, so we're fine. I think the big thing that you guys have is that there's a huge utility incentive here in column N, and that's going to really help to make it, the Green Committee likes that we've looked into the utility incentive first for things. Okay, excellent. All right, I'm going to stop sharing here then. All right, so, at this point, I think it's going to be, we'll wait for the next step, which will be the 20th. We have a meeting scheduled at 7:30 in the morning on the 26th. The Zoom meeting. Kim, I don't know if you want to join, but you're welcome to. We'll be, this is not, it's not coffee with the chief, but it's, pretty much close, especially since the old chief at least had better pastries when he made it himself. But for any of you guys, but anyway.
Hey, Dave, if we think we're going to have all three of us, which I don't mind bowing out of that 26 meeting if I need to, we'd have to post a meeting.
Understand. All right. So that's fine. Let's just leave it. We'll leave it. I don't think we're going to do, well, even if we're not voting. Yeah,
we really should, because we're going to be debating the project and so on. I mean, it's just a simple post that we're meeting jointly with the school department and whoever else we put on.
Okay. All right. So
I'll discuss the mini splits and leave it as one item.
Okay. All right. So I'll just leave it at that. you sent me the Zoom post. I'll just send something in saying that Green is meeting with the schools on the 26th at 7:30. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, did you get the time, Kim? 7:30 a.m.
Favorite time.
Yeah, great.
Hey, I'm going to be at the airport. I'm hopping on a plane at 9 o'clock. So,
I offered 3 a.m. this morning, but they wanted to go for that.
well, I mean, I still could do I could still do 3 p.m. if you want, but that's on a Friday, right? No, okay. No, thanks. Okay, excellent. All right, so I think we're all set for that. And if you want to bow out gracefully, I'll let you, Doc.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dr.
No,
Burrow.
we appreciate, honestly, all the help we can get to move some of the projects along. It's going to make a big difference in the end. And I know it'll mean an awful lot to the teachers and to the kids
excellent. Yeah.
When things are much more comfortable year round. So I
with
appreciate it very, very much.
Our pleasure. We're excited too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
I'm surprised that the conditions are so rough there for the heating and the cooling, that they have to move the students to other rooms.
I understand. I don't know, but I think maybe they're not as tough as we were when we were kids, you know?
I know. Yeah, because I didn't have heating or cooling. I remember like they had windows open, it was freezing, like we didn't have heat in some of them, it was crazy. So I'm just like, wow, but we didn't have anywhere else to go. So maybe that's the difference.
Right. I was gonna say, Dave, was Turkey Hill here when you were?
No, my next youngest brother was the first class that went into Turkey Hill.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. My daughter's been very lucky. She was the kindergarten class at the elementary, when it opened, and she was the freshman class at the high school when it opened.
The new high school.
The new high school. So she didn't experience any of the old, but she did experience Turkey Hill. And I don't know, it's that building bothers me, how in the shape it's in. I don't think it's that old, and it's in retrospect, for what it is.
It's like the primary building. Every 30 years, I think the architects get together and they decide, let's all figure on doing this type of foyer and this, that, and the other thing. And then when the primary was built, the big thing was passive solar. So that's why that building is so hot, because they made a point to point windows towards the sun to help heat the building. Well, it overheats the building.
Right. Okay. and we were so smart to think that AC is only going to be needed 4 days a year in the old building. Why bother, right? So
right. And then in 53, when they built the Passios building, they had those rows of windows up on the above the roofs for passive solar. And then 25 years later, they covered all the windows up.
Okay.
And that did two things. It killed the passive solar warming, and it changed the lighting within the building, because they had that to light the corridors.
Oh, so right.
For lighting, they had to add lighting to the corridors after they covered up those windows because it was so dark.
Yep. Oh, great. Okay. Oh, what a wonderful town. Okay. All right. So, I'm okay. Do we, there's 3 of us. I mean, we could do minutes if we had the old minutes, or did we?
Well, what happened was, so I sent it out and then I reopened it to take a look, and my file never saved. So I have to go back and redo the August minutes. And I can do that if there's a recording. So I don't think we don't even have anything to review if we wanted to today.
Kim, did you send it to us individually? Because we should be able to send it back to you.
Yeah. Let me just see something here.
But the file that I sent was not updated.
Okay, but at least you'd have the file to start, right? Or is that?
No, I'd have to start over. Oh, right, because I did it all and I saved it on my computer, but for some reason it didn't save. So I go to open that August file and it's just back to the July stuff. I'm very sad because I had written a lot, but I can fix it if we have the recording available. So we can review both meetings from the minutes from last time and this time at the next meeting.
Okay. So I thought, yeah, for some reason I thought you had.
Unless you have it out of some miracle, but.
Let me take a look.
Yeah.
August 19th, that was July meeting, right? You're looking for the August meeting, right?
Yeah, so the file, it says August 19, 2024
Yes.
meeting minutes. You open it up and it says July. It didn't save.
Let me see if there's anything else.
I even tried to go back to like previous revisions and.
So, let me see if I got something else. Okay, sorry, I don't mean to take too long, but we might as well, if we can find something for you, we will look for it.
Yeah. Plus, it's not like our meetings are that long. I could always just go back through it.
Now, what was that date again we're looking for?
August 19th.
Okay. I'll have a little time before the finance committee meeting starts. I'm up at town hall now, so I'll take a look too.
Yeah, don't look too hard. It wasn't saved on my computer, and so I don't know why I would save to send you and then revert back. So,
okay. Dave, are you pretty much done with the agenda for this evening?
Yes, I am. I know you have to run. You want to run, so.
No, another subject, unanticipated issue to discuss between the three of us.
Okay.
We can start the discussion. As I believe you both know, I am leaving Massachusetts in the near future. I have run out of time today to have a conversation with a couple of people as to what my options might be continuing on this committee, at least through the first of the year. So I don't have an answer like I had hoped I would have. At the very worst, I'd like to be a contributing member of the general public of the United States, if you want to call it that, or whatever.
Yeah.
But there is a slight possibility, and I need to check into this, that I could remain a seated member of the committee, but I have not vetted that yet.
Okay.
But I think, we need to be thinking about me transitioning out and looking for a couple more members, so on and so forth. So I just thought we should start that conversation. Finance committee, there's no, finance committee, there's no question, because as soon as I'm not a resident of Lunenburg, although I can remain a voter in Lunenburg until I register in New Hampshire, our charter requires finance committee members to be residents and registered voters, I believe, or at least residents.
Mm. And so you wouldn't be able to stay on the Green Communities because you're moving to New Hampshire? Because if you stayed in Mass, you could, because we don't have a charter that says otherwise.
Yeah, well, I've got to find out what the eligibility requirements are for appointed boards.
So wait a minute. Let me ask you this. When are you, is your house sold?
It's under agreement. The final paperwork has not been signed yet. So that date's a little bit up in the air at this point.
Okay. I was gonna say, right? Because that would be the thing. As long as you own property in this town, right? We're not gonna give you up.
Yeah. Well, I've been looking around town for a town-owned piece of, like 1,000 square feet sitting hiding somewhere. See if I can get it auction it off for $500. Dave owns that piece right there.
Exactly. I kind of kicked myself. I used to. Our first house we built was on Lake Shirley.
Yep.
On Stump Cove.
Yep.
And the house had 450 feet of lake frontage on Stump Cove, and like an idiot, I didn't take like 50 feet at the end or 100 feet at the end and just like carve it out and give myself a dock on, type of thing. Now I kick myself because, but anyway, at the time it was just like, I'm done listening to Shady Point. Back 30 years ago, Shady Point was not a fun place to listen to every weekend.
Right.
And so anyway, I have to say.
Just a public service announcement also, so that anybody that listens to this tape, and you guys are aware, the finance committee is going to be down 2 seats when I depart. They're down 1 at this point with a resignation that happened this week. And then when I leave, they're down 2, and they're just starting budget season. So
Ouch.
anybody that has interest, you can be appointed to multiple committees. You can only be on one elected committee.
Right. Yeah.
Case in point, I was on one elected and 5 appointed at one point.
Glutton for punishment. Dave, we are going to be very sorry to see you go.
Yeah. It's I delayed it a decade.
Understand.
A lot of the reason was because I wasn't willing to pull my roots out of the ground here in Massachusetts, but it's just come to where it needs to happen.
Understand well.
I'm here for bad timing.
Yeah, exactly.
There's never a good time. That's one of the things everybody's gotta realize that there's no good time for anything in town government when there's change.
Right. Yep. I understand completely. So Dave, I'm very sorry to hear that, but that's, your seat will be hard to refill.
Well, I'm kind of hoping. I'm hearing people. There's a lot of talk out in the public, and everybody's making the crowds aware that these seats are available. And I think Carter's doing a great job reaching out one by one to demographics that will fill seats, like the sewer commission he's working on right now. It sounds like he's had some pretty good bites on that. I've been saying for a few months now that it's time for the next generation of volunteers to come in and run the town. Us 15 and 20 years and more it's time for new ideas and new ways and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it was funny because I'm actually part of the ZBA, and the two guys were talking about that, how they've been there for 25 plus years, and it might be time, that kind of thing.
I'll put out one more public service announcement. This is a very critical need, and that's for the Historical Commission.
Okay.
I had hoped to be able to take the seat that I was appointed to, but it just didn't make sense. But they're down to 3 people, and they need 3 people for a quorum. And they've got quite a bit of stuff coming up in the near future. The RFP or RFQ for the inventory of historical locations in Lunenburg is due back, I think, in the next week to 10 days. And then they'll be working on selecting a contractor to actually do the inventory and register all those locations on the state and or national historical list. And then once that happens, that's going to open up grant funding possibilities for all kinds of things.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Wow. Okay. No, that's another one that's might be a little tough to fill, but hopefully somebody will step up on that. Excellent. Well, Dave, we'll hang on to you as long as we can. How's that?
Yeah, as soon as I get verification on what direction, I should be able to do it. Oh no, tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah,
offices are closed. I'm always available on Fridays, but town offices are closed. So
understand.
Early next week.
Okay, so I had another one. I just sent you guys, Kim, in the effort of, we were talking about what the lights cost us and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just sent you the latest bill I got, and I just wanted to. It was a humorous one because we were, I think, a whole $620 or something like that for the bill, and by accident, he sent me originally the bill for Fitchburg. Okay, and. I don't know how many lights Fitchburg has. That part he didn't send me, but it we're sitting there with 345 lights, and our bill was $620. They're sitting there. I don't know how many lights they have, but their outdoor lights cost them $7,600. But they also have an outdoor light service charge. So it sounds like they're using Unitil for the maintenance, and that was $4,500.
Wow.
So I believe that this, these LED lights are more than paying for themselves.
Right.
Very quickly.
Yeah, but they probably have, much more lighting than we do, but still can't be that much.
I think it's 12. I think they have 1,200 lights, if I remember right. and from the old committee days, but still, it's substantial. The fact that we have the dimming function, if we didn't have the dimming function, it would probably be equal, right? It would have been 4 times because our 3/4, type of thing. But with the dimming function, we're saving quite a bit on that as well. So I thought that would be an interesting little tidbit. When John DiNapoli, who's the rep, sent it to me at first, and I saw the Fitchburg bill, I didn't see it was for Fitchburg at first, and I see the current bill of $12,000. I was floored. Then I say, "Oh, okay, City of Fitchburg." I was like, "Whew, okay," So.
And I'll tell you, Dave, that I did notice something. I leave the house before sunup now to go to breakfast, and I got to the end of Whiting Street there at Lancaster Ave. And as I'm approaching the intersection, I thought there was a car coming up Lancaster Ave. But the position of the pole and the LED light on that pole just to the south of Whiting Street,
yeah,
it was the LED light that was lighting up that intersection like there was the car with its high beams on coming up.
Really?
So,
very
yeah,
cool. Okay.
it was. I was shocked that that's what it was, but yeah, they're working out very nicely.
Yes, very excited about that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Dave, one last question just to verify. In the final application, we still intend to throw in the 2 cruisers and the training.
Well, so the training is actually that Unitil will give a grant for the training.
Oh, okay. So that's not part of Green Communities. Okay.
Right. So I found that out from Matt, talking to Matt, though. All they got to do is submit and they can do it. And he sent me information to give to them on how to submit.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we've got the potential for 10,000 for police cruisers if we want to throw that in there. I don't know how would that negatively affect the award for the mini splits if the mini splits come in obviously over 125,000, but then the incentives and so
on. I don't know. I would I guess we can put priorities into things.
Yeah,
and go from there.
I seem to remember having a conversation with Kelly one time that from her perspective, in most cases, it never hurts to ask for more money than you can possibly get, because they may very well not fund one of the requests at 100% anyway.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think we got to look closely at all that. So I have to say, okay. Yep. Excellent. All right.
Hey, just so you know, I have one other comment. I talked to Chris Ruth 3 minutes before our meeting this morning.
Oh, okay.
Just to see where he's at, and where he's aligned right now would line up with a year from now with any projects that he could bring forward. They're just not far enough along with the weatherization, and this conversation again about Ritter at the select board meeting the other night, that, oh, well, we won't want to do this if when we go for the renovation, we're going to end up yanking out what we just did. And so they're back to the rhetoric of, well, we're not going to do anything yet because we don't know what we're doing down the road. So that was very frustrating to hear. But from a Green Communities point of view, I don't think we need to worry about weatherization on that building for at least a year, if not longer.
Understand. And that's, well, we had a building reuse committee meeting this week. And that's the whole, I think, is using ARPA funds to kind of do a feasibility or whatever they call the study of what it would be.
Yeah.
And with a cost breakdown. But, it's a matter of whether this town's ready for it.
Right.
Well, I don't care what the dollar figure is. At this point, that's the tough one, right?
Yeah. And you guys kicked it around in the meeting, and there's been a lot of sidebar conversations since your meeting. And there's some real concerns about what is going to come out of this next round going after schematic design, because I don't know, we've been through it twice and we haven't gotten anywhere. Another couple $100,000 and we're up to about $700,000 or $800,000 that we've pumped into iterations of this building reuse. And I said probably 7 or 8 years ago that by the time we make a decision, we'll be over $1 million just in basic engineering.
Yes.
We're approaching that.
It'll come quick too.
Yep. Okay,
right.
well, I'm done yapping.
No problem, Dave. Not a problem at all. Okay. You guys okay with an adjourn?
Yep. Motion to adjourn at when
I'm gonna send a notice out for a well, Eric's not good on Mondays, but let me figure it out. I don't know if we're gonna need him, but I'm gonna send a notice out for the 30th then. To post everybody the week of the 30th to figure out what day everybody's gonna go for the next meeting.
Yeah, what's going on? I've got something kicked in on the 30th.
I don't necessarily.
It's a personal appointment. That's fine.
Okay.
That's during the day, so it'll work out. So that could potentially be that. Now, make sure my brain's in the right place. 30th of September.
Correct. Yes.
If you do it on the 30th, then there's no question I can attend that one. After that,
okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to look for the 30th of September, and I'll send out now to all 5 of us to make sure. Okay.
And then, Dave, where can I find the recordings for these meetings so that I can?
It's supposed to be on the town's YouTube site.
Okay.
Let me find out.
I'll take a look too. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's supposed to be under. Yeah, you can actually look. There's supposed to be. Well, I won't. I've never looked, so I don't really know.
I've never had luck getting back into the archives. I always have to call down to Joe. And she sent me the links to the dates I need. It's all there. It's just you need to know how to get to them.
Okay. I'll try to figure it out.
Okay. Excellent. We'll help you wherever we can, Kim. Okay, guys. So we all set?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Okay.
No, hold on. 4. Next. All right, so I'll take a motion.
Motion to adjourn at 27.
All right. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right.
Dave,
Guys, have a great evening. Dave will give you a half hour to eat before your next meeting. Right?
Thanks.
All right.
See you
Take
later.
care. Thanks again.